is the Park Shore Coin and Collectibles Hour with your host, Scott Heiligman, on Fox Sports Radio. Today, we will discuss all the latest information and hottest trends on everything from coins and sterling silver to baseball cards, vintage toys, and a whole lot more. Find information about the show at www.parkshorecoin.com. That's www.parkshorecoin.com. And now, your host, Scott Heiligman. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Park Shore Coin and Jewelry Hour here on Fox Sports Radio. My name's Ian, and I'm going to be filling in today for Mark, who's out sick. And today, I would like to introduce our host of the show,
Hey.
Scott Heiligman. How you doing today, Scott?
Ian. Good to be back.
All right. Well, we've got a special show for you today. We've got a big auction coming up later today, right?
Yep. Later today, our first auction, Park Shore Coin and Jewelry's inaugural auction is going to be today online. So go to parkshorecoin.com and get on there and bid. You know, you can come on and pick things up in store, bid online, and that's going to be the big topic for the day for sure. It's going to be our new motto now is to be taking in consignments as well from customers and from Southwest Florida, because on a lot of times the items the people just aren't ready to sell them. So giving them another option in an auction house seemed like the next best thing to do, and we've had a good result with that. And the customers are liking it, and it's going to be very exciting. Park Shore Coin, I went to Auctioneer school to get state licensed. So I'm a Florida licensed auctioneer, Park Shore Coin and Jewelry. And it'll be fun. It'll be fun. And we shall see today. It ends at 3 p.m. So people can go to parkshorecoin.com and, get a general sense of an idea of what we sell at Park Shore Coin, what you can bring in. If you see things on there that you might have laying around the house, bring them in. And we will sell them on your behalf, or a lot of times just buy them outright from you, because these auctions are pretty time consuming, and it takes me a month, 2 months, 3 months to process the goods, put them online, take pictures, get the catalogs ready. And a lot of times the customers, I understand, you just want to sell them and be done with it. So we're here to give you another option, and that is, an auction. And then you get to watch it. You get to then get a link, see the pictures, and see the bidding. And that adds an aspect of the auctions, or to Park Shore Coin and Jewelry's repertoire, to being able to help Southwest Florida, residents sell their items and cash them out. These are items that a lot of times people have inherited, held on for a long time, and the best way to not leave any money on the table when you sell it is a lot of times put it through an auction and then see, what the highest bidder will be. Our particular auction house, the Park Shore Coin and Jewelry, went with is proxy bid. There's two options we could have gone with, and we decided to use them as our platform. They are a worldwide platform. They get great buyers, and that's kind of why we went with them. And they only deal with auction houses. Go ahead. Yeah.
Let's tell them for a minute here how to get to the auctions on your website. This is real easy. You just go to parkshorecoin.com.
Yep.
And you look across the top there, and you'll see the auctions tab.
Yep.
And all you have to do is hit that, and it brings you right to Scott's page right there, where you can see where his items are up for auction.
Yep.
And you can track it right from there, how it's going. And this closes later today at 3 o'clock.
That's right. Closes at 3 p.m. And still lots of room. A lot of times these auctions, all the bidding comes in the last hour. And that's kind of how it does, especially with bullion. I guess the market's not going to change a whole lot being a Saturday. But people like to wait till the very end and then bid on things. But yeah, you're never too late. And then you just sign up. Proxy bid as a effort to prevent identity theft and shield bidding, and to have a very good protective ecosystem. The only thing they require out of you for verification is a credit card that matches your home address. Because a lot of times before bidding and all that, if you win a bid, you need a driver's license. It's a very thorough process to get onboarded with proxy bid. Not thorough, but security is very important. And it's very important for auction houses as well, looking at it from our perspective. Because when you're dealing with very small margins and high-ticket items, a lot of times are co-signed to us We don't want to be involved with the chargeback, credit card issues, credit card theft. And that's one thing that eBay is very good at. They are the middle person. They handle the transaction. They bring you a pretty big marketplace, but the problem is the real buyers aren't on eBay when it comes to precious metals and coins. Why? Because the sellers can be anybody, and that affects the overall. That just affects the whole ecosystem of some people just won't buy from a random seller on eBay, especially when it's a $1,000, $2,000 coin. They want to know it's been authenticated, it's been purchased by a professional auctioneer, such as Park Shore Coin, and that just adds a level of security from buyers' perspectives. There's a lot of people who buy precious metals jewelry. They're not even on eBay. That's just an afterthought. They would never think of going on eBay and buying something. This way, with ProxyBid, not only you can look at all the auctions on parkshorecoin.com and at parkshorecoin on proxybid.com, you can come in and preview the items any day of the week except Sunday. And then that's another aspect that eBay does not allow. So it's give or take, but this allows me to build a customer base for Park Shore Coin, where eBay, everyone's anonymous. It's still a username. Nobody knows who's on the other end. And that's what I really liked about ProxyBid. As the bids are coming in on my software, I get to see the person's first name, last name, how long they've been a member of ProxyBid, and a few other items as well as their credit card information. Where people I can click a button and run the process that way. But Park Shore Coin, we don't really do credit cards. We do Zelle, we do Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, check, money order. But right now, credit card, it's just going to be a little iffy doing that stuff over the phone because there's just no protection from our perspective. You will guarantee get your item when you buy from us. So there's no issue on that regard. So we have to protect ourselves on the back end, knowing that there's going to be people who target coin shops, jewelry dealers. And that's why I'm an online dealer. I don't want to deal with all those snatch and grabs. You see them in every city now. It's just nuts. So I'm really happy I went this direction and don't have a retail front and going strictly online in auctions. You see these, primarily, I don't want to get into politics, but in California, New York, I mean, these stores are getting multi-million-dollar robberies in Beverly Hills, and it's getting to a point people don't realize communism is capitalism versus communism. Capitalism is you can have nice stuff. If you want to go make a bunch of money and flaunt it and buy a bunch of nice jewelry, that's fine. You can do that. But communism, they don't want that. There's a few subsect of people who have all the nice stuff, but your average Joe can't obtain it. And so that's what's getting very scary. We're becoming to a point where an average Joe, they don't want to wear their Rolex. They don't want to wear their gold bracelet. They don't want to wear anything in public because they're afraid it's going to get stolen off their wrist. And when you got, prosecutors in some of these countries and counties that will not prosecute under $1,000, they won't even take a police report. So if you have a $500 chain or $500 coin, it gets stolen, you can't even file a police report. So that's very just disconcerting. But that's where we're at. And so now you have a place where you can safely purchase online in safe confines of Naples, Florida, and do it that way. So, yeah.
So whether they want to come see you in person and have it evaluated in person, which is what a lot of people like to do nowadays.
Yeah.
The other great thing about, like you said, about ProxyBid is the people that are selling on ProxyBid have all been vetted by the service. Oh, yeah. Unlike eBay, which basically all you need is a name and, and an email.
Exactly.
I think that's so important because some people have been burned by eBay.
Yes.
And now they don't want to go back. And of course, Amazon, the one that a lot of people do trust, doesn't deal with this kind of thing.
Right.
So really, you have to go somewhere where you can trust the people you're dealing with. And that would be a reputable auction house where the people who are auctioning items are vetted ahead of time.
Yep.
So you know that you're dealing with somebody that can be trusted.
For sure. And let's be honest, you can go on Amazon and eBay. Some of the items that I get in and that I've been selling over the course of the last year on eBay, they haven't had items like that from certain designers on there for all the comps. So you can go through the jewelry, and these are just things that, people sell to us down in Naples. They might have had for 50, 30, 10 years. These are items that just come onto the market. It's not an item that you can just put on Amazon and put, 10 quantity and let them rip and sell them. These are one-of-one items. These are very rare jewelry pieces. And ProxyBid does it a little bit differently. They do it where I have to do one catalog, and they charge me a certain fee to do one auction that ends on a Saturday, and then I can promote it, though, for a month. Where eBay, it's like you put the items up and you just let it ride for a week. This way you can upload it. People can look at the pictures for 3 weeks. I can continually add inventory, and then I can do the show or the closing date 3 weeks later. And it can be 800 items, so that's kind of how it is. It's like a old school auction house where the last day they stagger them one at a time, boom, 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 boom. So it'll be very cool. But yeah, proxy bid, they're very cool like that. And it's going to be very interesting to see just how it builds and how it grows, because you can sell on Amazon, but they, for precious metals dealers, they take such a big chunk that it makes it not worth it. And it's really only on bullion. If you want to put a one-on-one, random jewelry pieces, it's got to be auction houses. And consumers also know that too. When I also mention, hey, I want to buy this item, they always inevitably ask me, well, where do you end up selling it? That's always what they say. Well, what do you do with it? And I always tell them, I'm like, well, I'll probably either put this in an auction, or this gets melted, or this gets resold as the coin that it is. And every time I say, hey, that goes auction, it just makes more sense that they can become involved in that process, because that's where it goes. So if you can then be the auction house where people can follow it, yeah, it should be great. And we're very excited about it. And that proxy bid, it does. You have to be state licensed auctioneer. I took a 2-week course of schooling. I took a state examination, and it takes a whole bunch of other checks and balances. And yeah, you cannot get on there as a seller unless you are a licensed auctioneer. And some states don't even offer this. You got to come to Florida to go to the auction school. So you have to be, yeah. So like there's students from Georgia, Kansas, and a few other states that came to my Florida auctioneer school where I went. And that's because they didn't have an auctioneer school, and there's reciprocity. And that is the, stipulation. If you want to get on a proxy bid, you have to have your auctioneer license, and that entails learning how to bid, call, all that kind of stuff. So eventually down the line, we can do live auctions, we can do charity events. All these types of things are all part of being an auctioneer. So it's been a very nice addition to Park Shore Coin and Jewelry for sure.
That's awesome. And it sounds like this is something that's going to work very well for you, as well as what you do now, which is a lot of just paying people cash for
Yeah,
what they bring into you
for
every
sure,
day.
exactly. And then that's the other thing. It brings a level of transparency, because a lot of times people, they've never sold items before, so they're obviously going to be skeptical. They've all heard stories. Oh, they got ripped off. This person got, fly of the night gold and silver buyers. Everyone heard they're going to get lowballed. So this auction thing now allows people to say, all right, well, let's just throw it on your website, Scott. We can follow it from beginning of the auction to end. Let the worldwide bidders decide what it's worth, and then we can negotiate a price or a commission based on that. But like you said, sometimes people just want to cash out, they want to leave, and sometimes you get more money just me cashing you out, because I'm not going to be able to put an item on my auction for less than, let's say, 15%, right? Because it takes about a half an hour to take pictures, to do the description, to do the shipping. So, if we're doing $100 plus per item, got to figure 15, 20%. But if you're going to sell a gold eagle, and the gold eagle $1,700, I'm going to pay you $1,700 for it. Why would you wait for my auction for it to sell for $1,850 and then pay me 20%? That's $300, $400. So you see what I'm saying? So there's a room in between for different types of coins. Sometimes bullion, it makes no sense. Bring in a Park Shore coin, I'll cash you out. Because the other thing with bullion, you'll see in my auction that ends Saturday, the market doesn't trade on Saturday, doesn't move. So the price will kind of be, based on Friday's price, right? So it closed yesterday. Now they'll say, okay, we'll base it based on that. And so if you have bullion, you could bring it in on Monday, and I can cash you out. Let's say it's $17.50 an ounce. By the time it goes to auction, it might be $1,600, it might be $1,800 in 2 months when I get around to it, right? So it's just a lot easier to bring it in, cash it, than to put it on the consignment. Now, some things, jewelry for one, or rare autographs or antiques. These are things that sometimes Rolex watches might want to put on the consignment, because we just don't know. The market changes from hour to hour, day to day, and they're up, down. They really do change, especially in the sports market. Baseball cards, vintage basketball cards, they go up, they go down. I'm talking 20% increase and decreases on a monthly basis. And these are all vintage cards, so it's not like based on, precious metals contents. There's just a lot of factors and premiums we've gotten into in previous episodes on Silver Eagles, they still keep going through the roof. And so there's always just a lot of variables that change in this market. That's why it's nice, to have Park Shore Coin down here. You can call anytime, 239-961-0816. You can text me pictures of items that you have and say, hey, Scott, I'm thinking about putting this on the auction, or I'm thinking about selling this. Is this something you would buy? If so, what do you think you would pay for it? And obviously the things are tentative. I got to see things in person a lot of times before I give a pretty good quote, but I can tell a lot of times a general idea of what you have and what I would pay just by texting photos of them to me. So we try to make it as simple as possible, as seamless as possible, and adding the auction house to the repertoire just adds another level of flexibility for our customers. And sometimes they just want to sell 1, 2, 3 items at a time. They'll bring 3 items. Hey, Scott, run them through the auction. Let's see how they go. And then we'll see how they go. And then they'll be inevitably happy with the price these things bring in, because especially post-COVID, everything has moved online. Even the big auction houses, the Sotheby's, the big names like that, Christie's, they've all just gone online now. And that's where the bidders have gone. There's a sect of bidders who will never go into a live auction house ever again because of COVID-19. So they're much more comfortable clicking buttons on proxybid.com. And that's just the nature of the changing of how everything works. And so we're going to change with that, and hope the customers really enjoy watching that, because it's going to be a nice, exciting thing to, really grow here in Southwest Florida, is having a nice little auction house, especially that's, specializes in vintage jewelry, old collectible coins, sports memorabilia, all these things that everybody down here collects from all different parts of the country. You guys are bringing things from the Northeast, from the Midwest, from the Southwest, everywhere. So it's nice to have a place that has dealt in this. I've been doing this for a long time, so I can give you a very general idea of, what I think it'll sell for if we go to auction and things of that nature.
I hope people understand the process. I mean, when they actually bring something into you,
Yep.
In there, they walk up to a counter and there's all the testing equipment right there.
Yeah, it's right there.
It's all done right in front of your eyes.
That's
you
right.
see the number right on the piece of equipment. You have it right there, what it's worth on that day for that dollar amount, for that amount of weight that you see on the piece of equipment. So I think it's important for people to understand that this isn't something where you drop it off and I'll tell you later. Although you
right.
do that on larger lots and things. I understand that. But for the most part, this is something where you come in, you stay with your item.
Yep.
You stay there. You are part of the testing process.
That's right.
And they actually get to be hands-on with you during this process. And I think that's so important.
Yep.
The people understand that, because there's a lot of people like me that are very hands-on, and I like to be a part of the process. Like, I'm the guy that likes to go and stand by the mechanic when he's looking at my car.
Cool, yeah.
So I can ask questions and be a real pain in the you-know-what.
That's right.
And you can do that with Scott. You walk right in, you walk up to the counter, and he does the process
The
right there
scale's
in
right
front
there,
of you.
too. A lot of times places, the scale's hidden underneath, so you can't see it. Mine's right there. Okay, it's 8.2 grams. Testing equipment's right there. The purity, okay, here's the line for 10 karat. Here's the line for 14 karat. And here's the acid, and here's the stone, and here's how gold's tested. And here's the magnet, which is the first step. Yeah, it's all right there. Walks everyone through it. Because, the last thing, and sometimes it happens where, a customer happened, 2 days ago. It was a beautiful 18 karat chain necklace, and I could tell before she put it on the counter that it was counterfeit. Just wasn't gold, because 18 karat is very dull. It'll never be really shiny. And so I still take it and I look at it, and it attaches to the magnet. I hand it back, and she's like, but it says 18 karat on it. And I'm just like, yeah. And I'm like, I know. But she's still, I don't know if she was trying to pull one off, but I think she wanted it be even more hands-on. She wanted to see me do more testing. So then I'm just like, well, look at the magnet. Then I had to explain it. Anytime a magnet sticks to the precious metal, it's not gold. Okay, and here I can scratch it on, and it'll eat it up. The acid will eat it away because it's not gold. So sometimes they might think I'm wrong. If I just say, hey, it's fake. Well, from her perspective, it's 18 karat. The person who sold it to her, presumably told it was gold. So, I get that. So I like putting myself in the consumer's kind of point of view too. And I'm the same way. I mean, I like watching and learning how to do every little thing, and it is neat stuff. I mean, there is a ton of testing equipment, and people do like watching that. And so, yeah, it is part of the process, and it's all just part of the transparency of it all. I think the more transparent we are in this industry, the more everybody wins. And so, just when both sides are happy, everyone wins. That's kind of how you want to do it.
And I
It's
think
not
what
always
surprised
easy, but
right, and I think what surprises people when you do it is that uh, once we're able to test the item and
yeah,
and determine what it's worth, you make an offer, they
exactly.
agree, come to an agreement,
Yeah,
and you cash them out right
yeah,
there, and they walk away happy.
yeah, and
That's the way it
yeah,
works.
and it's
There's
very
not, we're going to
private.
give you a check, you can
Oh,
cash
right.
tomorrow. We're gonna, you come back in a couple days. I'll have your. No, no,
Yeah,
we keep your thing. You get your
we're done.
cash.
Yeah,
You either leave with your item or you leave with your cash.
exactly. Yeah, no
Yeah.
item too small, too big. Now, obviously, some things get a little carried away down here in Southwest Florida, and it would clear out the bank, and that's why the consignment is nice. But we can broker deals. Yeah, no, nothing too small, nothing too big, and yeah, we'll cash you out right on the spot. You
And
know,
you'll give them your opinion on whether this is an auction item that you
absolutely.
might want to
Oh yeah,
consign.
yeah,
And the difference there is, and you kind of covered this earlier, but I think it's important to note here the difference between an auction item and an item that you would probably just cash out right away
yeah,
is the rarity of it.
yep, yep.
Because if something's very rare, then you want an international audience
Hmm.
looking at that auction.
Yep, or very niche.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Something that again is not going to be found very
Yeah,
often that might have even a higher value because of its national rarity,
exactly.
not just its local rarity.
That's it. That's why Proxibid's so great. And the more you dig into Proxibid, they are a software company, and they're just doing gangbusters, and they're really bringing together some really good buyers and really good sellers. And the fact that they do keep out the riffraff, there's accountability on both sides. And so there's just not that with eBay. And so that has turned off a lot of buyers. Sellers will always sell on there as long as the checks are coming in, and they make
Right.
sense. They're still good for some things, but some things are not. And they're not good at building a business and building a brand. Like you said, it's just you're a moniker on there. And the
Right.
people are going to buy from you, but they're not going to become, customers that come in, you meet them. Oh, you want to buy something? You want to sell something? Like a trading partner. You're not going to get that on there. There's no sense of, who the person is behind it. You know,
People are so used to getting crappy service now. That's
that
kind of what
too.
they expect.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
expect to walk in and literally you give your order to somebody and they roll their eyes and walk away. And that's what people expect nowadays. And I think
Yeah,
it's important to note
yeah,
that when they come in with their thing to show you,
yeah,
they're gonna get you.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
gonna get you. You're going to evaluate it. You're going to go through the testing process and you're going to give them a price. And that's so
Exactly.
important. And I want to tell you how to get Scott has a brand new office. I just want to mention that.
Oh yeah.
Got a beautiful brand new office and it's in the Napoli Center,
Yep.
right there in I guess what would be North Naples,
Yep.
and it's right there in Immokalee and I-75. It's right off
Can't
of
miss
the
it. Yeah,
interstate.
you can't miss it right there on what is that? The northwest corner it must be. And three doors down from the McDonald's. We're across the street from the Publix, Strand Publix. You can't miss it. 5644 Tavilla Circle. And yeah, we got a nice pylon, plenty of signage. And yes, as you're exiting 75 onto Immokalee, if you're driving south, you will see our building right there on the intersection on the right. But there's not like an entrance there. You have to turn right on Immokalee, which is west, and then make the first turn on the Strand Boulevard. And then you'll weave back around and see us. But yeah, we expanded and we expect some good growth here in North Naples, and there's just been a really good response, and a lot of it is the customers. They have some really cool stuff down here, and they have been saying, "Oh, Scott, we've just been waiting for someone. We have no idea. We've been here for 10 years. But I didn't know what to do with this stuff." They're not going to be putting it on eBay. You can't just be a newbie and then also selling your family heirlooms on eBay. You'll get take advantage of. The prices won't go, and it's just bottom feeders on there for the most part. The people who buy jewelry and coins on eBay are people who resell them. I'd say
Right.
98% of them. Yeah. And a lot of times it's people who resell them in auctions,
Right.
yeah. So that's just one thing, but it's also cash flow. So anytime as a small business owner, that's very important to me too. So eBay was good at that. They pay you every 3 days or every 2 days, and you can just do it that way. and be done with it and sell something. They have 1 day auctions. So that's one thing Proxybid doesn't offer. These are something where they're events, so I'll have to put on an event. I'll have to advertise it a little bit and, get on here, get on the radio, tell all our listeners to go on to parkshorecoin.com, click on that auctions button, and then you'll see our auction. It will pull up fine jewelry, gold and silver eagles, Morgans. Those are all some of the items we have up for sale today. We have 5 beautiful gold, silver, or gold eagles. I mean, those are very hard to come by right now. I start them off at spot price, which is a price you can't get them at that and anywhere else. And then you just bid them from there. And you can pick them up in store, or I'll mail them to you. It takes 2 days. We've been doing this for a long time. We professionally ship them, and I've had no issues. And they're insured, and it's a very cool thing. And we shall see. We shall see.
So if someone has something they think that might be worth either an auction or something you might pay them cash for, that they would feel is what they would want for that, the way to find out is to give you a call or send you a text.
Yep.
I know that we talked a while back. You like when people send you text pictures.
Yeah, that's the best
so that
way.
you can look at it, evaluate it, check it out.
Yep.
And be researched when you call them back in 10 minutes and be ready to talk to them about it.
Exactly. Or when they bring it in. I'd like to get all that out of the way, because we do get busy at time. And so if I can get a lot of the legwork out of the way up front, it happens all the time with baseball cards. Oh, I'm thinking about selling these cards. All right, we'll take a picture of the 10 good ones you think you're going to sell. I'll research them, and I'll get you a general price, just by looking at the pictures from the text message. And then you don't have to drive in unless because a lot of times what happens is people will be like, they'll have a number in their head that's, way too high. They'll say, oh, I got all these old baseball cards. They must be worth $1,000, when the reality is worth $5 or $10 each, even though they're Hall of Famers and All-Stars.
I swear, I think baseball cards are the worst for people thinking they're worth more than they are.
And that's what we can get into the next segment, that mantle that sold for $12 million. Yes. And people were calling with that identical card or 2 years later, thinking that, I even had a married couple come in together. They came in thinking that they now had the Holy Grail and their life was going to change. The wife literally said, oh, I thought you were going to tell us we're millionaires. It's like, no, your card, I bought it for $200. It was a 55 mantle. I mean, beat the crap, but it's still a great card. But it is what it is. And people have, so that, they have a number in their head. And if it's too high, then I'll say, well, I'll be at about $250. And they'll say, oh, that's not even worth me driving in. Or, oh, that sounds about, I've just been holding on to these. That sounds like a reasonable number. So getting that out of the way is very important too.
Right.
Because a lot of times,
because if we can't even get close,
if we can't even
bother?
Get close, right? Then, and you'll even see that on the Pawn Star show. The guy will say, I want 10 grand for it. And they'll bring in the expert, and the expert will be like, well, it's worth 1,200. And the guy will say, like, I still want 10 grand. And Rick will say, I can do 750. And the guy's like, well, no, I still want 10 grand. He's like, well, we just had a third party come in saying it's worth $1,200. I know you're asking 10 grand for it, but I can't pay you more than 750. We just can't get a deal done. And the guy will look at him like he's nuts. Like, you're offering me 750? Well, yeah, the guy literally just said at auction, it'll sell for 1,200. So
because people get it in their head that it's worth a certain amount.
Yeah.
And once that happens, it's very hard to change that whole thinking. It is.
That's why the auctions are nice.
Yeah.
Let's throw it in the auction, John, and see what it goes for. We're going to throw it for, because then what can they say?
Exactly.
Because then it's just the money talks. I'm just the auctioneer. I'm going to take professional photos. I'm going to write a great description. I'm going to market the you-know-what out of this auction to the world. And we're going to get all the bidders, and we're going to see what it goes for. Yeah. And then here's the price we agree on for the commission. And it's that simple, and then the customers can come in and preview if it's jewelry. And then it's like, well, if they still don't want to do it, then they weren't even ready in the first place. So It's nice to be able to offer them a buyout, do a consignment auction, or just pass, which is fine too. Some people just want to know what they have. But like to your point, we can do that over text. Right? Because if I have 2 customers in there and now a third one comes in just trying to figure out what they have when we could have done it over text messaging.
Right.
And then they drove 20 minutes. And then now they're upset that they drove 20 minutes. I only gave them so much time and I only offered them $250 when they might have thought the cards were worth $5 grand.
A lot of
because
people,
baseball cards are like that. You can find the identical card that's worth $5,000 in good
right.
condition.
Well, you got to look at the logistics of this. You're
Oh,
working in an office by yourself.
That's right.
And where other places would have 3 or 4 people working for them that are much less experienced,
Yep.
that don't work near as hard as you do.
That's right.
But when they come to you, they come see you,
That's
the
right.
owner of the company,
Yep.
the man that has to buy it and sell it and deal with it.
Exactly.
And so that I think that's very important. And I also think that it's really important that people come see your beautiful new office.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And I want to give the information out here before we go to the next segment here. But if you want to give Scott a call, you can call him directly or text or send pictures over text, which is what he prefers you to start with.
Yep.
And that's going to be his text number is 239-961-0816. That's 239-961-0816. Images, text, and phone, and also email. You can email photos and a description. If you have all of it written down already, you can cut and paste it right into an email, drag your photos in there, and ship it right off to Scott at parkshorecoin.com. That's Scott at parkshorecoin.com, and you'll be all set. Or you can stop by and see him at his brand new
Anytime.
location
Yep.
in Napoli Center, right off Tavilla Circle there,
Yep.
right off the interstate at I-75 and Immokalee Road. Check that out.
6 days a week.
Yep, and you can walk right in there. He's got some cases. He's
Yep.
got some stuff out you can see, and he'll get with you as soon as he can.
Mm-hmm.
You have to remember, you're kind of the concierge collector guy because
yeah.
you do it all yourself. You
Yep.
don't have physician's assistants per se.
That's right.
You do it all yourself, and you give people that personal service each time
For
they
sure.
walk
There's
in.
a level of accountability to it, especially when you're dealing with people's heirlooms and their items that they appreciate. It's just, I'm not comfortable, handing that off to someone. We probably have some help in there soon with the auctions and shipping. But when you're dealing with customers and the buying and that stuff, that's going to have to be me. And that's just kind of how
With
it
this
is.
kind of business, you almost have to deal with the man.
You have to.
You have to deal with the
Well, a lot of them are
person that's-
family
yeah.
owned. So a lot of times, there's not many companies that do what I do, but a lot of times it's the dad and then the son, and then it just gets passed down. And maybe they have one other person, but it's usually or a husband and wife.
Right.
And that's what it would be ideally for me if I had a girl, someone. That's what it is. It is ideal to have 2 people. It is complicated, but I can do it. Like I said, I get 2, 3 customers a day, 4 customers. There is time.
Yep.
That's just how it is. It's not like 80 people are selling stuff every day. And when customers come in, if I'm with the customer, I have a nice waiting area or in a very nice big office with TV, they can sit, or they can come back in a half an hour. There's a lot of stuff around. There's a Publix. And a lot of times they just want to come in and meet me, know that I'm going to be there. I just signed a 5-year lease, so I'm not going anywhere. And come in and say hi. I'm there, every day, 6 days a week. And I'll be happy to meet you. And we can kind of just go from there. But I love meeting my customers.
It can be a great experience, and I think a lot of people that you've been sitting around for so many years wondering what that was worth. What is that stuff that Grandma left?
Or
to
even
me?
what is it?
What is it worth? What is it?
Yeah.
Is it worth anything?
Yeah.
Lay it out on your dining room table on a white sheet and take pictures of it.
Boom.
And send it up to Scott and say, do I have anything here, or is it like yard sale stuff?
You're right.
And Scott will tell you whether it's coins, whether
Yeah.
it's jewelry.
Happily.
And
I want it to be valuable. That's what people don't realize.
Yeah,
when I say it's
exactly.
nothing or it's only a few bucks, I don't want to say that. I want it to be hundreds of bucks or thousands of dollars, so then I can make a few bucks.
That's right.
If it's only $12, then no one can do much with it. So
And
I
then-
want your items to be valuable.
And then finally, if you need him to, he makes house calls.
I do make house calls. Yep.
We have to schedule it in the evening or something, maybe
That's
a
right.
Sunday, but
Probably a
we'll
Sunday.
get you out there.
We'll get you out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Even in the evening, I'll happily come out. Some people just aren't mobile. They're still not comfortable with all this COVID and all this stuff, and they just want me to come to them. I'm more than happy doing that.
That's awesome. And I think a lot of collectors in our area may not even know that this kind of service exists. in our
No,
local-
they don't. They have
This is
no
something
idea.
you would normally find in like a big city or
Yep,
something,
yep,
people
yep.
that deal like this. So,
Tampa, exactly.
yeah, so this is awesome. All right, well, we're going to be right back with our next segment here in just a few minutes, right here on the Park Shore Coin and Jewelry Hour, right here on Fox Sports Radio and podcasting all over the world on Spotify and wherever you hear your podcasts, and worldwide on YouTube on video.
That's
And
right.
you can catch us there at Park Shore Coin at YouTube. And so check us out on all these different venues. And we'll be back in just a few minutes right here on Fox Sports Radio. This is the Park Shore Coin and Jewelry Hour. My name's Ian, and we're here with Scott Heiligman, owner of Park Shore Coin and Jewelry. We'll be right back.